Have you ever faced a moment where silence could cost everything? Where speaking up meant risking your very life? Have you ever felt powerless, yet sensed a greater purpose calling you to act? Today, you'll hear the story of a woman who faced that impossible choice. A girl with no family, no voice, no power, who became a queen, a savior, a hero. This is the life of Esther, orphan, exile, queen, deliverer. Before the crown, before the courage, before the triumph, she was just a girl, hidden in the shadows of a foreign land. This is a story of fear and boldness, of danger and destiny. And maybe, by the end, you'll find your own courage reflected in hers. Let's begin. Part 1. An orphan in exile. In the vast city of Susa, the gleaming capital of the Persian Empire, a young Jewish girl named Hadassah lived in the shadows. To better blend with Persian society, she was known as Esther. She was an orphan, her parents lost to the harsh realities of exile. The Jewish people, scattered from their homeland after Babylon's conquest, clung to their faith in a land filled with strange gods. Esther, barely 16, lived with her wise cousin Mordecai, a scribe with kind eyes and a heart heavy with their people's enduring pain. Their modest mud-brick home smelled of baked bread and olive oil, its walls alive with whispered prayers of hope. Mordecai raised Esther as his own, diligently teaching her the ancient stories of Abraham and Moses, of a powerful God who continually promised deliverance. Her beauty shone brightly dark hair like a raven's wing, eyes sparkling with quiet strength, but she kept her Jewish identity a carefully guarded secret, just as Mordecai urged. Persia was a land of immense power, ruled by King Xerxes, whose dominion stretched from India to Ethiopia, his palace a labyrinth of gleaming marble and shimmering silk. Yet for Jews, it was a place of constant caution, their ancient faith a private whisper in a city of roaring idols. Esther's life was simple, her days spent fetching water or weaving, her heart completely unaware of the monumental destiny stirring within her. How could a hidden orphan ever be plucked from the shadows and thrust into the heart of an empire? The answer lies in a king's lavish feast. Part 2. A queen deposed. In the heart of Susa's grand palace, where fountains sparkled and proud peacocks strutted through manicured gardens, King Xerxes hosted an extravagant feast that captivated the entire known world. For an astonishing 6 months, nobles from across the empire drank from golden goblets, their laughter echoing off jeweled walls and ornate tapestries. Queen Vashti, radiant and proud in her own right, held a separate, equally lavish banquet for the women, her crown glinting under the torchlight. But when Xerxes, flushed with wine and brimming with arrogance, demanded she display her famed beauty before his boisterous male guests, Vashti, with remarkable defiance, flatly refused. Her public disobedience, as bold as a summer storm, instantly enraged the powerful king. His advisers, fearing a wave of rebellion among women across the kingdom, quickly urged, "Banish her. Find a new queen." And just like that, Vashti vanished from the palace, her throne left conspicuously empty, the opulent halls buzzing with hushed whispers of her disappearance. Xerxes, his heart restless and his pride wounded, soon ordered a massive search for a new queen. From every corner of his vast empire, young virgins were gathered and brought to Susa, their families weeping as stern guards led them away from their homes. Mordecai heard the shocking decree, his heart sinking with a terrible dread. Esther's quiet beauty, once a personal gift, now dangerously drew unwanted attention. "Go," he told her, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and reluctant acceptance. "But you must, above all, hide your Jewish blood." Esther was taken, her sandals brushing the dusty road, her eyes wide with a profound fear of the unknown. She entered the palace, a world of exotic perfumes and exquisite silks, yet to her it felt like a gilded cage of immense danger. Her young heart pounded, How could she, a humble orphan, possibly survive the perilous intrigues of the king's formidable court? What chance did a terrified girl have in a palace of secrets and ruthless ambition? The answer was waiting in the women's quarters. Part 3. A hidden star rises. In the sprawling women's quarters, Esther found herself living among hundreds of other maidens, their voices a nervous chorus of hope and fear. Hege, the king's compassionate eunuch, who oversaw their care with his sharp, discerning eyes and surprisingly gentle hand, quickly noticed something remarkable about Esther. It wasn't just her captivating beauty, but her inherent kindness, her quiet grace, and her remarkable calm amidst the palpable tension. She effortlessly won his favor, receiving special treatment. Her meals were enriched with aromatic spices, and her room was adorned with soft, comforting linens. For an entire year, she underwent an elaborate preparation, bathed in fragrant myrrh, adorned with delicate perfumes, and taught the etiquette of the court, yet her heart clung tightly to Mordecai's whispered words. Stay hidden. Trust God. Each night, another maiden was called to the king's chamber, never to return to the women's quarters unless personally chosen as queen. Esther waited, her silent prayers whispered under the cold Susa starlight. When her turn finally came, the long palace halls glowed softly with flickering lamps, the air heavy with exotic incense. She stood before King Xerxes, her heart racing, but her simple elegance and unassuming grace somehow outshone all the others. The mighty king's hardened eyes softened as he looked upon her. With a deliberate gesture, he placed the heavy golden crown upon her head, its unfamiliar weight a startling symbol of her new reality. Esther, the hidden Jewish orphan, had become the queen of Persia, her true identity a profound secret locked deep within her heart. Outside, Mordecai sat at the king's gate, patiently watching and fervently praying, as Esther stepped into a role she had never sought, but for which she was clearly chosen. But even a queen's hidden identity couldn't protect her from a rising tide of evil. Part 4. A deadly plot unveiled. Outside the palace walls, Mordecai diligently worked among the scribes, his quill scratching across royal decrees. One ordinary day, his keen ears caught a dangerous whisper to palace guards, their voices low and conspiratorial, plotting to assassinate King Xerxes. Mordecai's heart raced with urgency. He immediately sent word to Esther, his urgent note discreetly hidden in a loyal servant's hand. Esther, in her regal robes, bravely stood before the king, her voice steady and clear. My lord, there is a plot against your life. Xerxes swiftly investigated, and the two traitors were caught and summarily hanged, their bodies swaying ominously in the palace courtyard. Mordecai's quiet act of loyalty was meticulously recorded in the king's chronicles, a seemingly insignificant detail that would resonate powerfully later. But a far darker shadow was beginning to loom over the empire. Haman, the king's chief adviser, a man with cold, calculating eyes and a heart swollen with unbridled pride, rose to unparalleled power. He demanded that all bow down to him, his luxurious robes sweeping the palace floors as he passed. Mordecai, however, refused to kneel, his Jewish faith forbidding the worship of any but God himself. Haman's arrogance burned with an intense personal rage. Upon learning that Mordecai was a Jew, he cunningly devised a monstrous plan to utterly destroy all Jews throughout the vast Persian Empire. He cast lots called Pur in Persian to choose a seemingly auspicious day for the mass slaughter. With a smile as chilling as a snake's, he easily convinced Xerxes, there is a certain people, scattered and disloyal throughout your kingdom, whose laws differ from all other people. They must die. The genocidal decree was swiftly sealed with the king's signet ring, its chilling words pronouncing death for Esther's entire people. Mordecai, devastated, tore his clothes, covered his head with ashes, his guttural wail piercing the bustling streets of Susa. Esther, isolated within the palace, felt the crushing weight of her hidden truth. Knowing her secret could now cost countless lives. How could an orphaned queen, risking her life, possibly save an entire people from the brink of annihilation? Her only hope lay in an act of impossible courage. Part 5. A Call to Courage. Mordecai sent a desperate message to Esther, the heavy scroll trembling in her hands as she read his urgent plea. "Go, plead for our people," he wrote, his words cutting through her fear. "Do not think that in the king's palace you will escape any more than all the other Jews. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther's heart froze in her chest. To approach King Xerxes uninvited meant certain death, unless he mercifully extended his golden scepter to her. The vast palace, once a place of bewildering beauty, now felt like a terrifying trap, its marble halls suddenly cold and unforgiving. She paced her luxurious chambers, the sweet scent of myrrh heavy in the air, her mind racing with the immense weight of the choice before her. Could she truly risk her own life? Or could she, a queen, possibly stand by and remain silent as her people faced utter annihilation? She fell to her knees, praying with desperate fervor to the God of her fathers, seeking divine strength and guidance. For 3 agonizing days she fasted completely, her stomach empty, but her spirit growing resolute with a steel-like determination. She sent a clear, unwavering message back to Mordecai. "Gather all the Jews who are present in Susa, and fast for me. Neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. I also and my maids will fast likewise. And so I will go to the king, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." Her voice, once soft and demure, now carried an unshakable resolve. She donned her finest royal robes, the rich silk brushing against her skin, and prepared to face the mighty king. The unimaginable weight of her people's fate now rested entirely on her slender shoulders, her courage a fierce flame, kindled by an unshakable faith. But one brave choice wasn't enough. The queen still had to outwit the most powerful man in the empire, and the most dangerous. Part 6. A Risk in the Throne Room. The vast throne room stretched before her, its towering pillars reaching toward the high, painted ceiling, its polished floor gleaming with intricate colored tiles. King Xerxes sat on his magnificent throne, the symbolic golden scepter resting in his hand, his eyes distant and unreadable. Esther stepped forward, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs, the air thick with the heavy scent of frankincense. Guards stiffened, their spears glinting menacingly. She stood before him, her beauty radiant, but her profound fear carefully hidden behind a composed facade. Xerxes' gaze slowly softened as he recognized her. He deliberately raised the golden scepter, extending it towards her, a clear, life-saving signal. Esther exhaled, a silent breath of relief, her knees trembling slightly as she touched the scepter's tip. "What do you wish, Queen Esther?" he asked, his voice echoing softly through the enormous room. She spoke with quiet grace, her words carefully chosen. "If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet that I have prepared for him." Xerxes smiled, completely unaware of the intricate plan unfolding. Haman, puffed with arrogant pride, gleefully joined the intimate feast, his loud laughter filling Esther's private chambers. The table sparkled with gleaming silver and flowing wine, but Esther's heart raced, her mind meticulously preparing for the next step. She invited them again for a second banquet, her voice steady, her carefully calculated plan slowly unfolding. Haman left, boasting loudly of his incredible favor with the king, but his joy soured instantly when he saw Mordecai, still unbowed, at the king's gate. That night, consumed by his petty rage, he ordered a massive gallows 50 cubits high, to be built immediately, its ominous shadow stretching dark across the city, fully intending to hang Mordecai upon it the very next day. Esther, in her final prayers of the night, felt the storm of peril gathering, knowing the time for decisive action was now. The fate of a nation now hung by a thread, and an unexpected sleepless night would unravel it all. Part 7. A Sleepless Night. That night, King Xerxes found himself tossing restlessly in his bed, the luxurious silk sheets tangled around him. Unable to sleep, he called for his royal chronicles to be read to him, their ancient pages rustling softly in the quiet of the night. A scribe began to read, and soon a particular passage was reached, the record of Mordecai's loyal deed saving the king's life from the assassination plot. What honor or distinction has been bestowed on Mordecai for this? Xerxes suddenly asked, his voice cutting through the stillness. Nothing was done for him, came the solemn reply from his attendants. At dawn, Haman, brimming with self-importance, entered the palace, eager to demand Mordecai's immediate execution on the gallows he had so eagerly prepared. But Xerxes spoke first, catching Haman completely off guard. What shall be done for the man whom the king delights to honor? Haman, his mind swollen with his own vanity, immediately assumed the king meant him. For the man whom the king delights to honor, he declared grandly, let him be dressed in royal robes, paraded on the king's own horse, and led through the city square by one of the king's most noble princes. Xerxes nodded, his expression unreadable. Make haste, he commanded, and do this for Mordecai, the Jew, just as you have spoken. Haman's face drained of all color, his arrogant pride crumbling into dust as he was forced to lead Mordecai, his hated enemy, through the streets of Susa, the cheering crowd watching in utter astonishment. At Esther's second banquet, the air was heavy with palpable anticipation. Xerxes, holding his wine goblet, asked again, What is your request, my queen? Even half my kingdom is yours. Esther's heart pounded. This was the moment. She stood, her voice clear and resonant. If it pleases the king, spare my life and the life of my people. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, slain, and utterly annihilated. Xerxes frowned, his eyes widening in disbelief. Who is he? And where is he? Who would dare to do such a thing? Esther, with trembling but steady hand, pointed directly at Haman. The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. The entire room froze in shocked silence. Haman's eyes widened in terror, his goblet clattering to the floor. Xerxes, consumed by a furious rage, stormed out into the palace garden to compose himself. Haman, in utter desperation, threw himself at Esther's feet, pleading for his life. The king returned, misinterpreting Haman's desperate posture, and roared, Will he even assault the queen in my own house? Guards seized Haman, and Xerxes immediately ordered, Hang him on his own gallows. Haman's body swung, his monstrous plot undone by his own ambition and a queen's courage. But even with Haman gone, the threat to Esther's people remained. Could a queen truly undo a king's decree? Part 8. A People Delivered. Esther fell before King Xerxes again, tears streaming down her cheeks, pleading fervently for the lives of her beloved people. Persian law was unbending. A royal decree, once sealed with the king's ring, could not be revoked. But Xerxes, now completely swayed by Esther and Mordecai, gave them incredible power to act. Mordecai, now highly honored and effectively the king's second-in-command, immediately wrote a new decree, sealed with the king's own signet ring. The Jews throughout the empire were granted the right to defend themselves, to assemble and protect their lives, and to destroy anyone who might attack them. Messengers raced across the empire, their horses' hooves thundering across the vast lands, carrying this life-saving hope to every Jewish community. On the very day originally planned for their slaughter, the Jews, armed with the new royal decree, stood their ground. Their swords flashed in self-defense, and their lives were spared. From the capital city of Susa to the farthest provinces, they stood strong against their enemies, who fell before them. It was a victory forged in faith and courage. Esther and Mordecai, in commemoration of this miraculous deliverance, declared a joyous annual feast Purim, named for the pur that Haman had cast to determine their destruction. Jews gathered across the empire, their voices rising in songs of praise, their tables overflowing with festive bread and wine. Esther's unparalleled courage had truly turned a decree of death into a vibrant celebration of life, and profound despair into overwhelming joy. The palace, once a place of terrifying uncertainty, now echoed with the sounds of her triumph and the gratitude of a saved people. Mordecai rose to even greater prominence as Xerxes' chief adviser, his new robes a gleaming symbol of his honor, his heart forever tied to the welfare of his people. What enduring lessons can a hidden queen and a miraculous deliverance teach us today? Part 9. Lessons from Esther's life. Esther's story is a profound mirror for our own hearts. Timeless tale of extraordinary courage, selfless sacrifice, and unshakable faith. Her life teaches us powerful truths. Courage in fear. Esther risked certain death to save her people, stepping into the terrifying throne room even while trembling with fear. When you face your own scary choices, a difficult conversation, a bold stand for justice, or a daunting new path, Esther's example urges us to act with courage, trusting in a strength far greater than our own. Use your influence. Esther leveraged her unexpected role as queen to profoundly impact the lives of millions. Do you have influence, whether at work, at home, in your community, or through your social circle? Esther's life challenges us to consciously use our positions, our voices, and our resources for good, to uplift others and to combat injustice. Trust divine timing. Esther's rise to power came for such a time as this, a moment perfectly orchestrated by God. When you feel stuck, uncertain about your path, or wonder why you are where you are, trust, like Esther, that your current circumstances and your very existence have a profound purpose, perfectly aligned with God's divine timing. Stand for others. Esther didn't just save herself. She risked everything to speak for her people when they were powerless. When you see someone in need, a friend facing injustice, a marginalized community, or a stranger requiring a voice, Esther's story inspires us to advocate for them, to be their voice, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Faith over silence. Esther didn't just pray. She acted decisively, refusing to remain silent when silence meant complicity and death. Are you doubting if your voice matters? Believe that your words, fueled by faith and courage, can unfold significant change. Speak up like Esther, and watch how transformation can begin. Part 10. A legacy of bravery. Esther lived on, her crown a timeless symbol of courage, her name whispered with reverence in Jewish homes for generations. The vibrant songs and festive feasts of Purim carried her miraculous story forward, a powerful, living reminder of God's unseen, yet ever-present, hand-guiding history. She remained queen, her heart deeply rooted in her faith, her life serving as an indispensable bridge between her people and the formidable power of Persia. Her extraordinary story, meticulously preserved in the sacred scriptures, continues to shine through time, powerfully calling countless generations to embrace true bravery. From an orphan's quiet, unremarkable life to a queen's bold, world-altering stand, Esther carried one singular, profound truth: courage changes history. Her unwavering faith transformed a decree of death into a vibrant song of life and triumph. Are you facing overwhelming fear? Esther's fierce resolve calls out to you, feeling powerless with no voice. Her incredible story offers you an unexpected wellspring of strength. Are you doubting your unique purpose in the grand tapestry of life? Her life whispers a powerful assurance. God places you precisely where you can shine the brightest. Esther's enduring legacy sings one glorious truth for all: faith put into courageous action is worth everything. The end. Esther's eternal light. Esther was a hidden orphan in exile, a powerful queen in an opulent palace, a singular voice in the midst of a terrifying storm. She faced fear's darkest shadow, risked her own life, and through divine grace, saved her entire people. From Susa's dusty streets to its golden throne, she carried an unwavering spark of courage, meticulously kindled by her deep and abiding faith. Her remarkable story, celebrated annually in Purim, continues to echo powerfully in our hearts, living proof that one voice, one bold choice, can fundamentally shift the trajectory of the world. Are you currently facing your own moment of truth? Esther's unparalleled bravery calls out to you. Are you carrying a hidden strength, a latent potential? Her life shows unequivocally that it can shine brilliantly. Esther's story powerfully shouts, stand up, trust God, and change everything. Thank you for watching.